The U.S. bishops have a new chairman for their pro-life committee, Archbishop Joseph Naumann of Kansas City in Kansas. Naumann has long been involved with pro-life ministry, from launching chapters of Project Rachel to challenging pro-choice Catholic politicians. I spoke with His Excellency at the recent U.S. bishops meeting in Baltimore about his agenda as pro-life chair. And our conversation is this week's Pro-Life Focus. Archbishop Joseph Naumann, thank you for being with us today.
Pleasure.
You are now beginning your term as chair of the Pro-Life Committee for the U.S. bishops. What is at the top of your agenda?
Well, our plan, for pro-life is multidimensional, and one of those dimensions, which is closest to my heart, is pastoral. So how can we surround those that are in a crisis pregnancy with more resources? How can the church mobilize? I mean, we do a lot already, and the pregnancy resource centers are doing great work, but how do we as a church help that? How do we help those that are suffering from the consequences of abortion? So how do we ramp up our Project Rachel ministries? And the ministries are there, but how do we advertise and invite people to this reconciliation? I'm also very concerned about the foster care system right now, and how we as a church again can mobilize our people to be open to foster care and adoption. I think these are high pastoral priorities. Then, I think you get into the educational. That's always got to be part of our work, and I think we have more resources and better information today than we did when abortion was legalized. So how do we take advantage of the technology that gives us that window into the womb and better inform people? Prayer's got to be the root of everything, and so how do we sustain and deepen and renew the church's prayer efforts? And then I think the last area is advocacy, and of course this is, in some ways, it's an exciting moment. We have the changes at the Supreme Court, and we don't know exactly what that will mean, but we're very hopeful that will mean that states are going to have more opportunities, at least more opportunities, to limit abortions, and perhaps even, in some cases, prohibit.
And speaking of advocacy, the U.S. bishops can be a powerful force on Capitol Hill. How do you plan to use that political influence to push forward a pro-life agenda, especially now that we've seen pro-lifers no longer have control of the House of Representatives and there is this divided Congress?
Yeah, I mean, we always seem to have a divided Congress, and at one moment the Senate seems to be our obstacle, and the other moment the House. We just have to work with the elective representatives that people have sent, and again, try to make our case in the most effective way that we can. Try to bring people together across, and this isn't a party issue really, it's a human rights issue, and to try to build coalitions that look beyond the party kind of platitudes on this, and really look at the lives that are at stake.
Your term as pro-life chair will last for 2 years, which is the remainder of President Donald Trump's first term as president. What has been your assessment of President Trump's pro-life actions so far?
So my term will actually last 3 years.
Oh, that's my
yeah.
mistake.
No, but it will overlap with President Trump's. And, I think President Trump, the most significant thing he's done is the judicial appointments at the Supreme Court level, but the lower court level. So these appointments of judges, we can't minimize how important they are, because that's really where the problem in terms of public policy really began, at the court. So I think there, and also he's given us a lot of relief from Health and Human Services, the pressure that they were putting on with their interpretation of Obamacare and how it applies. So he's done significant things at the executive level, I think, that have been encouraging. So whatever else you might think of President Trump, in terms of the pro-life issue and the protection of the unborn, he's been a star.
What would you like that relationship with the Trump administration to look like between the Pro-Life Committee and the Trump administration?
Well, I mean, we work with everybody, and we want to work closely with them, and I think there are many people within the administration that have have had a personal commitment to the pro-life cause, and I think the Vice President is a good advocate, and a lot of the President's counselors are people that have been involved with pro-life before they were part of the Trump administration. So I think we need to work with those allies, and the executive branch has a lot of power with its executive orders and administrative decisions. These can have a great impact.
And finally, Your Excellency, right now the church is dealing with a clerical sex abuse crisis. Its moral authority has been undermined. How do you, as chair of the Pro-Life Committee, plan to evangelize on the church's teachings on life, which are already unpopular, when many people have lost trust in the church?
Well, I think we have to respond to the current crisis, and we have to regain the trust of our people in some cases. You know, I think actually what the church has done since 2002 has been significant, and a lot of that's getting confused in the current debate. But I think we need to strengthen what we're doing and how we respond to victims, no matter how long ago. And you know, it's a pro-life issue. It's the dignity of the human person, and wherever that's diminished, and if it's diminished by a representative of the church, then we have to correct that. So I think we have to be accountable in that area. We have to do better, but we can't stop speaking the truth and speaking the truth with love. And the truth, it's never a popular moment, but I think we can't allow ourselves to withdraw from this public discourse. We have to speak the truth with love.
Archbishop Joseph Naumann, Chair of the Pro-Life Committee for the U.S. Bishops, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine.
God bless you.
Thanks.
God bless you.